is a name that stirs hope, controversy, admiration, and resistance. Born of legacy, forged in exile, still by struggle, a man whose life journey mirrors the political evolution of a nation. This is the beginning of the legacy of Raila Odinga.
The moment we realize that the law is not going to facilitate a free and fair electoral process, the better for the country. I'm therefore suggesting, Mr. Chairman, that this symposium seriously considers an alternative to the present crisis. I'm suggesting that as a first step, this symposium should transform itself into a national convention.
On January 7, 1945, in the small town of Maseno, at the Anglican Church Missionary Society Hospital, a child was born into fire. Raila Amollo Odinga, a child of post-war Africa, at a time when Kenyans' cry for independence grew louder with every passing day. His father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, was not just a politician. He was a revolutionary, known as the father of Kenyan socialism. Jaramogi was the first vice president of Kenya.
Usikubali kwa serikali aende kando. Ikiwa kama unaona sisi tuko na kasoro, sema wasi. Hapana kaa kimya. Utasema tu kwa sauti ya wale watu wenu ambao iko katika parliament. Kwa maana ikiwa kama wewe iko kwa kiwanjani ya mpira, kama wewe unacheza, unadhani wewe ndio unajua kushinda watu wote? Siko watu wengine huko nje ambao wanasema kwa nini hapa napiga kule? Kwa nini hapa napiga kule? Kwa hivyo ukitiwaambia ati jaribu kuangalia kule na kule na kule, tena ufanye umoja hii.
And a fierce nationalism who boldly declared to the British, no Kenyatta, no independence.
Jomo Kenyatta is the father of the African nationalism and the African national movement in this country.
But surely you're all rather more advanced than he is in your thinking about politics. Wouldn't he embarrass you if he was really let go now?
We cannot in any sense be more advanced than our teacher and master.
He helped free the nation, only to stand isolated when the newly independent Kenya betrayed the promises of equality and justice. His mother, Mary Juma Odinga, was the quiet force behind the scenes, a dedicated teacher and a believer in the power of education and discipline. She did not much in the streets, but nurtured revolution around the family table. In the Odinga household, politics was not a subject, it was a way of life. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga fathered 6 children, many of whom followed his footsteps into public service. Among them, Raila Odinga, destined to become Kenya's most prominent opposition leader, and Oburu Odinga, a seasoned parliamentary and senator.
Personally, I am a very truthful man. And I'm pained, I come from Siaya, when my own governor stands up and says that, and he's annoyed, I don't know annoyed with who. He's annoyed, and he says that he just wants to talk the truth. The truth. What truth?
Raila began his education at Kisumu Union Primary School before moving to Maranda High School, where his sharp intellect and restless spirit often clashed with rigid authority. At just 17 years old, Raila left Kenya for East Germany, first enrolling at the Herder Institute in Leipzig. He later studied mechanical engineering at the Technical University of Magdeburg, but Raila's education extended far beyond engineering. Immersed in Marxist theory, Pan-Africanism, and revolutionary discipline, he shaped the political vision that will define his lifelong struggle. In 1970, Raila returned home with a master's degree in mechanical engineering. He took up a lecturer post at the University of Nairobi, simultaneously launching East Africa's Spectre, a pioneering gas cylinder manufacturing company, an entrepreneurial endeavor rare in Kenya at the time. But the call to politics was relentless. Behind the public figure stands Ida Odinga, educator, counselor, and steadfast partner. Together, they raised 4 children: Fidel, Rosemary, Raila Jr., and Winnie, in the turbulence of Kenya's political storms. In 2015, they endured a profound loss when their eldest son, Fidel Odinga, passed away suddenly.
He came back to his home last night, and this morning he was found dead.
This heartbreak only strengthened Raila's resolve to serve his nation. The 1980s were dark years. Kenya had become a one-party state under President Daniel Arap Moi's repressive rule.
I've restrained myself. They have abused even me. That's democracy. They have abused everybody. But there is limit for everything. I've forgiven them for abusing me, but no further.
Raila chose resistance. In 1982, he was accused of involvement in a failed coup attempt. He was imprisoned without trial for 6 brutal years, subjected to torture, isolation, and silence. He emerged unbroken. He was arrested multiple times thereafter, faced harassment, and eventually exiled, but never ceased his fight for democracy and justice. In 1992, Kenya embraced multi-party democracy. Raila returned from exile, joining the Forum for the Restoration of Democracy, Ford Kenya, led by his father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga.
It's come from my second detention, and Mr. Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia had more or less been expelled from Kanu, or they had resigned. And first, they had made a statement in which they were calling for repeal of Section 2A to allow for formation of other political parties.
That year, he was elected Member of Parliament for Lang'ata under the umbrella of the nascent Orange Democratic Movement, ODM.
Kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya na kutumikia na moyo wangu wote, na kwamba nitahifadhi, nitailinda na kuitetea katiba ya Kenya.
Following Jaramogi's death in 1994, Raila chartered his own course, founding the National Development Party (NDP). In a surprising strategic move, he later merged NDP with President Moi's ruling KANU party, sparking controversy but playing the long political game.
Nilipokuwa niko na shida na chama cha Ford Kenya, nilijiuzulu, nikawacha chama, nikajiuzulu kwa bunge, nikarudi kwa wananchi. Ndio sababu mimi nataka kuambia kwamba mkitaka kuonyesha Wakenya msimamo sawa sawa, mkitaka kuonyesha Wakenya msimamo bora ya demokrasia, basi muwe watu ambao unaongoza na kwa mfano. Uwe mfano. Kama utaki KANU, utaki NDP, toka rudi kwa wananchi, tafuta maendeleo.
When Moi picked Uhuru Kenyatta, son of Kenya's first president, as his successor in 2002,
sipendelei ukabila. Hata kama nasema Uhuru Kenyatta, sisemi Uhuru Kenyatta kwa sababu ni Mkikuyu. Hapana. Nasema kwa sababu ni mwananchi wa Kenya. Vijana sasa ndio wenye kushikilia madaraka kuongoza nchi, pamoja pia na mchanganyiko ya wazee.
Raila left KANU, leading the opposition revolt.
Nani hakuwa kwa KANU? Nani hakuwa kwa KANU? Kusema mambo ya kupigana na KANU, kama tuseme watu wapimana ratili, utakuta wengine tunasema umekuja wakati tulikuwa simba tumeshangoa meno, tumeshakata makucha. Sasa umekuta simba asema yuko pale ni kama kondoo peke yake.
He helped unite the opposition under the National Rainbow Coalition (NAC), which defeated KANU, and Mwai Kibaki assumed the presidency, ending 4 decades of single-party rule. Raila expected to be named Prime Minister as part of the deal, but was instead appointed Minister of Roads and Housing, another promise broken. In 2005, Raila led the Orange Movement opposing President Kibaki's proposed constitution. The no vote won resoundingly, but Raila was dismissed from the cabinet. From this struggle, the Orange Democratic Movement was born, an enduring political force. The 2007 election was a turning point. Raila appeared to win the presidency, but the official tally declared Kibaki the victor. The aftermath was devastating. Ethnic violence engulfed the country. More than 1,000 lives were lost and Kenya was fractured to its core. International mediation led by former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan brokered a fragile peace. In 2008, Raila Odinga was sworn in as Kenya's second prime minister in a coalition government. Together, they shepherded the adoption of Kenya's historic 2010 constitution, introducing groundbreaking reforms like devolved government, a Bill of Rights, and checks and balances that reshaped Kenya's democracy. In 2013, Raila ran again for president under the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy (CORD). He lost to Uhuru Kenyatta and challenged the results in the Supreme Court. The court upheld the election outcome.
A declaration is hereby issued that the presidential election held on 8th August 2017 was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law, rendering the declared results invalid, null, and void.
Despite defeat, Raila remained a powerful voice of opposition, demanding transparency, accountability, and an inclusive future for all Kenyans. From Maseno to Magdeburg, from prison cells to the electoral battlegrounds, from exile to the corridors of power, Raila Odinga's history is not one of ease, but of unyielding conviction. He is more than a politician. He is the living symbol of Kenya's unfinished dream. His journey continues.